Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to SJU. We've been talking about the death of physical media since the streaming war started. Is Disney finally making moves to pull the trigger? We will break that down. Plus a McGruber series question mark. We will take that. Yes, please. So with me, I have got number one McGruber fan, Spencer Gilbert.
Hello.
He's
Sorry, I'm still eating. Give me 5 seconds.
He's eating some TJ nuts. And then next we have Joe Starr, who we've been talking about this. He's going to be hosting the Fandom 5 trivia on Avatar: The Last Airbender on Friday the 14th. You can win up to $650. Link in the description if you want to. That's so much cabbage. If you want to watch or play, Joe Starr, good morning.
Good morning. Click on the stuff.
Click on the stuff.
There's a link in the description. Click it and play the game. It'll be fun.
It'll be fun. And again, you get to hang out with Joe Starr, which is like the best part of my day. All right, segment number 1. Will Disney signal the end of physical media? This is via /film, /the digital bits, /CNBC. A lot of slashes in this, including a /film. Sources tell Bill Hunt of the digital bits that beyond new release theatrical titles, Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, the biggies, there were no plans at the studio going forward to release titles on physical 4K digital HD. Future releases would be 4K digital only. So before we get into the mousy blame game, we got to look at the big picture here. Physical media as a whole has seen a hit since the world has turned to digital, at least since most of you were bored and some of us were in college. I won't say which ones. Since 2008, DVD sales have declined more than 86%. I'm going to look like this forever. Blu-ray launched in 2006. At its peak, Blu-ray sales reached 2.37 billion in 2013 before falling to 1.8 billion in 2018, that's a pretty huge slump between 5 years. Obviously, a combination of the Great Recession, a rise in consumers buying on demand and digital copies of film, and the launch of streaming services, which was huge, is what caused DVD and Blu-ray sales to plummet. Since 2011, platforms like Netflix, Hulu, HBO have seen sales balloon 1,231% to 12.9 billion. So, guys, we rest in peace in physical media here. What's happening? We donesy? Bye-bye physical media?
I mean, I feel like we're gonna get there, right? We lived through this with it doesn't seem like there's an evolution going, like Betamax gets replaced by VHS, gets replaced by DVD, gets replaced by Blu-ray, because Blu-ray never really outpaced DVD all that much in sales, so it doesn't seem like they're just killing Blu-ray for whatever comes next, for 4K or whatever. I do think it is in their best interest to start actually just cutting off supply. And, in favor of making you go watch it on Hulu.
That sucks.
I mean, yeah, it totally does.
It kind of sucks.
I hope they don't. I have no idea what the economics are, what they spend to make these things, but it's still a profitable business. And actually, home media sales were up among a lot of the other studios. Weirdly, Disney was accepted from that, and I'm not entirely sure why, but people have been buying more physical media than they were like a year ago, which is maybe saying something about the shuffling of the streaming services and nervousness about, well, I don't know where this is going to be next year. But I could definitely see it becoming not an automatic that you're going to get a Blu-ray or a 4K whatever from every release, but more of like it'll be like an enthusiast market, like vinyl, like not every album gets a vinyl reissue, but the ones that are fan favorites or cult hits will get the physical media treatment.
Oh, it's gonna have that lyric book in it. You gotta get the CD with the lyric book in it. Man, I'm old. Yeah, for me, it's one of those where I also wonder, along with what you were saying, because that's a great point, because we were talking about that earlier a few weeks ago when we were talking about the streaming wars, and people want their Office, and knowing how much it costs to go to these different services, you can just buy the Office off of an Amazon. But I know that another concern that people have had has been that sometimes, say you buy an album or a video game or anything like that, and you buy it and it's yours, and then later they go in and they take stuff off of it. And I know that that's also been an issue that some people have had, which has made them say, well, I'll buy the physical media, just so I can have it. Plus, man, physical media does kind of, it's crampy, not the best for the environment. It does look really, really cool on a shelf. Am I right? What's you gonna put on a shelf?
I don't know. I mean, the three of us right now are already in danger of running afoul of the YouTube gods. None of us are sitting in front of our wall of Blu-rays, which means we should not be on air right now.
That's true.
In the first place.
Nary a Funko Pop to be seen.
I moved mine. I consciously was like, you know what, more doors.
Yeah, all of my Funko Pops are right off camera, having a great time.
Yep, just...
I said, you guys want to see more doors. You want this door, you want those two doors. You guys don't want to see my toys. You just want
Danielle's like, one does not simply walk into more doors. Hey. I do think we've seen this happen though, pretty much though, right? Like with CDs and now the only way you can buy physical music is if you buy cassette tapes as a gag at like an Urban Outfitters, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't think we're quite there yet. I mean, there is a hopefully, I don't know, a hopeful interpretation of this is that Disney right now is just like a million people running around with their hair on fire, and they're like, our parks are closed, our cruises are closed, like they have their hands full, like we need to just pump everything we have into Disney Plus right now because we're all banking on that to get us through this, and then maybe like fine, we'll deal with like 20th Century Fox DVD sales. Who gives a crap? Like I'm trying to save the company. Like that maybe they will take a deep breath after this is over and the rest of their business opens back up. They can get to that. So hopefully it's maybe just a delay. One could maybe think. No.
According to Digital Bits, they are saying that there's a chance that Disney's going to offer the licenses to its less demanded catalog titles to like indie studios like Criterion, Era, or Shout Factory. Shout Factory puts out a lot of stuff that you ordinarily would not be able to find, which has been really good. But yeah, it looks like other than new titles, which we talked about, like the biggies, your four quads, as I call them. Other than the Quad Squad, Disney's only upcoming 4K UHD releases are Home Alone and Hocus Pocus, both of which arrive next month, and which will sell very well in the Danielle Radford demographic. And yeah, there hasn't been any official word from Disney yet on its future plans for physical media. It could be exactly as Spencer says, where it's just a bunch of people trying to put out fires, and one of the fires is, do we put things on those little round discs anymore? Okay, I have a multiple choice question for y'all. Is the halt of Fox titles rolling out a result of A, COVID impacting planning and production, B, Disney's focus on strengthening their D Plus and Hulu catalog, or C, 4K being a fairly niche market? Did we lose a Joe Starr?
We'll get Joe back. He hates multiple choice questions.
I mean, that's fair.
I would add D as a possibility, which is that after they merged with Fox, they probably fired everybody or laid off everyone who maybe knew what the plans were and how Fox did their physical media workflow and how that pipeline worked, and it all got funneled to like one person who works at Disney, and they're like and they have like a crazy wall on their office with like a lot of red string connecting different things.
The red string wall.
I do think that's a very feasible idea, that right now they're just like, what do we do? Like there are no committed Slack channels to working out these processes, and like that takes months sometimes.
Look, the guys that put together the mixed CD version of movies, where you just take your favorite scenes and remix them, they're all at home doing that now, and so no one has been able to do that in the office. Now, we will say, and this was something I was really interested about, because we all know that Disney has used their Disney Vault, is that way where it's like, you give a little you give them a taste and then you take it back, and then for the 20th anniversary you give them a taste and then you take it back. That has been a huge part of their strategy for years, where they'll just release things occasionally and then they will completely go away. AKA the reason I cried so hard when suddenly all of my Disney Princess VHSs and their very nice hardcovers went away and we weren't able to buy them again until I was a grown-ass woman. So as that is now starting to wind down, what do you think they'll use the Disney Vault for instead of storing DVDs and my beautiful clamshell VHSs?
Walt Disney's Frozen Head.
Yes. Yeah, that's a given.
That's a given. Mm-hmm. And the 200 Irishmen who were buried with him who worked on Song of the South.
See, I was going to go with all of the unused Fast Passes from this year, like all unused Fast Passes.
Stacks of Fast Pass cards.
Stacks of Fast Pass cards. And they're just swimming in them like sad Scrooge McDucks, just Fast Pass cards and just those in-state cards. What do you think, Joe? What do they?
I think they're refrigerating the vault, and this is just where it's just Dole Whip storage now.
Ooh.
Can't throw away perfectly good whip.
Yeah, you can't waste 2020 whips. That's insane.
Not going to make that joke. We're going to pause instead for a call to action. Thank you so much for being with us every day. Subscribe to our channel for vids every single weekday. Hit that like, hit that bell for us. Seriously, we thank you guys so much for hanging out with us and letting us be hopefully a fun part of your day while we make the giggles about jokes I can't tell. And once again, please hang out with Joe Starr because he is the best, and you are going to have the best time with him.
This is starting to sound sad.
Call to action, be friends with Joe. He could really use
Hey guys, like, subscribe. I'm having a real hard time right now. I would appreciate it if this Friday you signed up and did some Avatar trivia with me, just to give myself a slight sense of self-worth in this bleak hellscape that challenges my self-esteem again and again and again. You could win up to $650.
This is what
the prize money comes from Joe's paycheck. He's putting up the money himself.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Win Joe's paycheck. This is what happens when they take away my cat and only give me smoothies in return. But that is this Friday. It's going to be about Avatar: The Last Airbender. The link is in the description. You guys should totally hang out because it is really, really fun. And I know how much you guys like trivia because you literally ask me about trivia all of the time. And then I have to tell you that I am terrible at it because my brain is a sieve. Segment number 2, Judge agrees to end Paramount consent decrees via THR. All right, guys, let's get into some broccoli. You ready? I'm ready. Gonna put some cheese on that broccoli. We're gonna make it real good for the kids.
I wish this news was coming from a niche blog like Digital Bits was for the 4K.
Give me them digital bits. All the bits, only the digital ones. So on Friday, a New York federal judge granted a motion by the U.S. DOJ, United States Department of Justice, to terminate the movie industry's long-lasting Paramount consent decrees. Okay. Law talk! My favorite talk. Let's do it. All right. So the decrees have been in effect since the late 1940s when the government pursued a major antitrust action against film studios, which in those days were vertically aligned with national theater chains. Still with me? Yeah, you are. So as a result of the U.S. Supreme Court's landmark 1948 decision in United States versus Paramount Pictures, the studios had to divest themselves of their exhibition holdings, meaning they couldn't, studios couldn't also have holdings in like movie theater chains. A court-approved settlement then established rules governing the licensing relationship between certain studios, such as Paramount and Warner Brothers, and theater owners. Still with me? Yeah, you are. Other studios, like the Walt Disney Company, they weren't part of the original case, but have nevertheless been guided in by those same Paramount consent decrees. So I believe we've touched on this a little bit. So last November, the Department of Justice was like, no decrees, decrees done. There's no need for decrees in this 2019 world. So in the government's estimation, total bans on practices like block booking, which means you bundle multiple films into one theater license, and circuit dealing, which is the practice of licensing films to all movie theaters under common ownership, as opposed to licensing each film on a theater by theater basis, had outlived their usefulness. Still with me? Yeah, you are. So basically what that means is like, the big chains can't come in and have like a huge share in movie theaters. They can't come in and be like, well, if you want the Avengers, you also have to take. I believe we've said this before. If you want the Avengers, you have to take all of these This Dog Gon' Die movies, or like however many
Artemis
This
Fowl.
Dog Gon' Die movies. Yeah, they can't do that kind of thing. And so
the forgotten This Dog Gonna Die genre. From
that was a big genre. This Dog
Avengers
Gon' Die.
and dog.
Dog.
It's just all a bunch of dogs who taught
Renner.
people how to keep their family together right before they died. Damn it. Old Renner's really good show. U.S. District Court Judge Annalisa Torres did agree with the government that times have changed, and so the rules must change. Judge speak. Given this changing marketplace, that's how judges talk, the court finds it is unlikely that the remaining
Hamilton?
defendants... Yes. Dun, dun, dun. I'm not going to rap. I wouldn't do that to you. The court finds that it is unlikely that the remaining defendants would collude to once again limit their film distribution to a select group of theaters in the absence of the decrees, and finds therefore the termination is in the public interest, she writes in a 17-page opinion, basically saying like, oh, we can trust them studios to not be like, AMC, we don't like y'all no more. So now it's just, if you do this thing that we like, then everything goes to, I don't know, is Cineplex Odeon still a thing? This is the Danielle's old episode of SJU. So some indie theaters are like, they warned, they're scared that this move would usher in a new consolidation with big tech giants like Amazon coming in and just buying up theaters and theater chains. A coalition representing 236 independent cinema companies told a judge that a much fuller factual inquiry is required before terminating the Paramount consent decrees. Judge Torres thinks that the evidence suggests low likelihood of potential violation and notes that Disney was not technically stopped by this degree before anyway. It was mostly Paramount and WB. So as we know, studios have been interested in the idea of buying theaters. We know this.
Imagine if there was a world right now in an environment in which AMC would probably be desperate for a buyer. Maybe in the next 6 to 12 months. Imagine, this being struck down just in time for something like that. That's crazy, right?
It's not crazy because Amazon is reportedly interested in buying AMC theaters at its financial low of early COVID-19.
Uh-oh!
Joe, you're a truth teller. You're a truth seer. You're our own Cassandra.
I can't wait to watch Amazon Prime's Jack Ryan on the big screen at my local AMC theater.
All gym face all the time. It's also been rumored to have interest in theaters in China. As we know, Netflix did buy local prestige theaters like the Egyptian Theater out here in LA because they wanted to have a way to show theaters in limited runs to make them eligible for awards.
Right.
But now the idea of just like the straight vertical integration of chains is legally on the table, or at least like easier to pull off and find loopholes for. So with Amazon circling this, do we think we're going to get to a point where it's not just going to be people trying to buy these smaller theaters? Because Disney does, there are places that own art house theaters for the sake of like screening their own stuff or screening other things, having big events. Do we think that these studios are going to jump on not just buying those kind of classic theaters, but also the big chains like AMC and Regal? Yes.
It's less about the studios and more about the tech companies that already own them now. Of course, this is something that they would want to do. I want to go to AMC. I want to buy my popcorn. I want to watch my movie. And then on the way out, I want to pick up, whatever it is I ordered from Prime from my in-store Prime mailbox.
Omnicorp. I want them all to do one thing, all to do all things for me. So, look, I think this sucks the most, obviously, for because it seems like they always get the short end of the stick for independent cinema and theater owners, where it's hard enough to make money or stay alive as it is, and then you want to show a big movie once in a while, and then you get stuck with the Artemis Fowl of it all. If you want to play Endgame, you gotta play ball and rent out your other 2 screens if you even have that for these clunkers. that sucks. And then, God forbid, you can't make it work, and then you just become, your one theater town becomes an Amazon town. Oh, I want to watch something else. Oh, no, better head down the road. It's a Netflix town about 20 miles yonder.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're stuck with the series finale of Bosch.
Yeah.
Oh, dads everywhere rejoice.
Yeah, it's nice when theaters can pick and choose from the offerings of all these studios instead of being forced to air some companies' content to the exclusion of others. It's going to suck, but then again, if the alternative is, well, these are all going to just close and be shuttered and be like weird places where like BioShock bad guys hang out, then I guess okay, fine.
No abandoned mini malls in Spencer's future. He simply won't have it. All right, I'm going to go check in with the chat and see what's going on. Going back to the first story, Luis Venezuela says, Disney won't kill physical media. They'll make them Disneyland exclusives, charging $50 for the baseline DVD and $80 for the Blu-ray at a literal Disney Vault store.
Like some kind of diamond edition because you got it from the park. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I can't tell if you're joking, but you're giving them ideas.
Yeah, giving them. That's a free one.
That's free. Yeah, they all got it's a clamshell 4K case with mouse ears. Yeah, for $75. Yeah, I see it.
And y'all,
it comes with one of those pins. Oh my god,
people would totally buy it. Going into, Louise Louise X Sparrow says, I want physical media. I can watch it when I want. They can't edit it. Exactly. Talking a little bit about the theater chain stuff. At Bearzerger, ooh, I like that name. I ask you, when has unsupervised trust of global corporations been to the detriment of the consumer ever? Not that I can think of.
Me neither.
No, I love the world we live in.
Yeah.
That's great.
Fantastic.
Like Spencer said, one company makes all the stuff and badly. AL, I believe that's Mosi, sorry if I mispronounced that, 210 says, get you someone who longs to kiss you like Sarah longs to kiss Joe.
Oh.
Love it. And Marcus Y, the Amazon theater will have Whole Foods in the lobby. I mean, I do like that hot bar, which is kind of a bummer. An intro, Nasia says, gosh, this news is unsettling for theater exhibitioners. They are still not out of the misery. Yeah, it's just, it's getting harder for theaters for sure. This is the time to start striking. If you're going to start doing it, it is going to start happening within the next year, just because of states being unable to or unwilling to reopen. Yeah. And even when some reopen, are you necessarily going to go to the theater to see an Artemis Fowl?
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone talks about we've been banging the death of the theatrical experience drum a lot. Trolls came out. Is it the death of the theatrical experience? Or the streaming wars the death of the theatrical experience? Will COVID in general be the death of the theatrical experience? No more movie theaters. We can't go see movies after COVID because everything dies. But I think this is what it looks like. This is what the death of the theatrical experience looks like, is Amazon presents AMC or whatever. Because we're going to get to the point where all of these really shaky entertainment companies that have had to weather this crappy storm are just going to get bought up by Apple and Bezos and whoever else. And that I think is what the death of the theatrical experience looks like. So if you didn't get RoboCop when you first saw it, I feel bad that you're about to live through it without having that.
Oh, I've been referencing RoboCop a lot, especially that Sunblock 5000. Ooh, some commercials lately have been feeling real Sunblock 5000 to me. Especially that one where they're all at the water park, and it's like the one with the crew members in masks, and they're like, "We're cleaning everything," but then it's people just going into water with their mouths wide open. All right, something really fun that I'm actually really excited to talk about. Segment number 3, McGruber Peacock series gets an 8-episode order. This is via Variety. Peacock has issued an 8-episode order for a McGruber series, which will see Will Forte reprise the role he created while on Saturday Night Live. This was announced at the NBC Universal Streamers TCA press day, and it comes around 8 months after the show was first put into development. So this is going to be obviously based off of the movie and will also be directed by the film's Helmer Jorma Ciccone of Lonely Island fame. Peacock's take on McGruber will begin with the main character described as America's ultimate hero and uber patriot being released from prison after rotting there for over a decade.
Well, he murdered Von Kunth, like, horribly in front of a lot of people. So, that would be something you'd go to prison with. He shot Val Kilmer with a rocket launcher and then peed on his body.
That is a surefire way to go to jail. You cannot shoot Val Kilmer with a rocket launcher and then pee on his body. Spenny, is this enough for you to pay for like whatever the ultra version of Peacock is?
Well, I don't think I have to. I think Peacock is free. Like, they have a free with ads tier. So if I can watch 8 episodes of McGruber and just somewhat interrupted by like a celery commercial or whatever targeted ad they pair with McGruber.
In these trying times, we know you want the crunch of celery and peanut butter.
Put some celery up your butt.
Just to fact check the Peacock thing, I believe from our Peacock preview, there's a free version and then there's like a slightly pay version where you still get some ads, but you get all premium content. So there actually is a scenario where maybe the most free version doesn't get premium new shows. So it's actually not, we don't know that for sure.
Dang. And I can't get the McGruber series on 4K Blu-ray anymore either. So it's a dilly of a pickle right there. I don't know which one I'd go with. If it's reasonable, I might sign up for a month and then cancel. Because slim pickings there. It's Frasier. Don't get me wrong, I love Frasier, but when the capstone of your streaming service is Frasier, you're in trouble.
Not a bad idea.
I
can't wait for this. Forte's like the weirdest, best comic actor, and he probably doesn't get enough shots and enough credit because his ideas are so weird. So anytime you give him free reign to do something he wants, I'm all for it.
Yeah. As long as every episode ends in the standard McGruber structure sketch of 30 seconds McGruber, then they explode. I'm completely into it.
But it seems like this is like an overarching story, which is exciting because it makes me feel like they probably wrote McGruber 2 and nobody would pay for it, so they split it up into 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Which is great because you get to expand on all that good plot stuff. Well, and also I have to agree with Spencer. Like, I am getting to the point where it's not so much to me about will I subscribe to something, it is about when I will subscribe to it. And so if you have something I like and I know that like either it is just ended and I can go binge all of it for a weekend, or it's I can get in right through that midway point and see other stuff and like time it with something else. That's what I'm doing with a lot of them. That's what I'm doing with HBO. If there's something I really want to watch and I know I can binge other things, last time I got HBO Max, it was just for Insecure. I watched a bunch of Insecure, and I watched a bunch of, I believe it's I Will Destroy You or I May Destroy You. I caught up on some Succession. And then when those things are ended, then I decide if I still want to do it. But it's, for me, they're not all a yearly subscription thing. It's month by month. It depends on what you have. And that's going to be what I decide. So everyone gets a little piece of this Danielle paycheck, but not for long, buddies. Got to earn it. All right, so
we shall group them together like a timeshare. We could have like, okay, I get it February, March. You get it April, May. Let's come up with that.
I actually don't think that that's the worst idea. And in fact, I do know, everyone knows that people are sharing these services. They're sharing them with your friend who has cable, so you don't necessarily have to pay for some of them. You're sharing them with your parents who have cable, so you don't necessarily have to pay. A lot of it is just not paying for it. But I do know people who they split them up where they'll put in a pool and it's like, okay, well, here's the pool for all of the streaming stuff, and everyone put in, your $15 a month, and then we get all of it, and we all get passwords. That's not super uncommon, especially now that you can build different profiles into these different things.
Yeah, I'm definitely on a bunch of shared accounts. Yes. Don't narc me out, please.
I will not. It seems like some of them don't mind, and in fact seem to be encouraging it. We got anything going on in the chat, right?
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't drop some in. Yeah, I'll find some stuff. I mean, just a little bit of. I think people are still somewhat making fun of just Peacock's name. Someone said that they should have named it Peacock Plus. I'll try to find them so that I can credit them. But yeah, just a lot of Peacock hate going so far in the chat.
It is a goofy name.
It is a really goofy name.
And I do love that the advertising campaign has been so focused on the bird. Like any billboard I've seen doesn't have characters you'll be able to see or shows you'll be able to catch up on. It's just a bird. It's a
bird.
Yeah,
it's just a bird.
It's just the bird. It's just a bird on a bus stop sign, you guys.
I wish they had gone full bird. And the menu was like my nest. It's like your homepage. And it was like fancy feathers. It's like new releases.
I wish they would make it like a cool animated peacock, like Mac Tonight. That maybe if you're idle on Peacock for too long, like the peacock comes out and plays like jazz trumpet or something like that. I think would be really cool.
And then I think
even the 1960s NBC Peacock logo, it was much more bird like. The bird actually moved and then its feathers spread and it was a peacock. But I don't think anybody's really thought of NBC as a peacock since the 60s.
I thought it was half of the
dumb and bad.
No, it's like the Friends Network. Oh, I do. Here is one thing in the chat that I did think was super interesting from James Sterling. I believe it is Wilson. One thing I love more than anything about physical media is the behind-the-scenes making of documentaries. Oh, also, Joe, they would like to know if you found someone to fill that D&D slot.
Oh, no. I think...
What's that?
I think Disney Plus has got you on the behind the scenes, because now they're just like, oh, do you miss making ofs? Now we have our series on the making of Frozen 2 and the making of Mandalorian.
Well, and Amazon is also doing that pretty well too, because they've got their X-ray, where you can go through and which is actually, I will say, one thing about the Prime streaming service that I do really enjoy is that you can go into their X-ray and it will send you things. It'll show you oh, here are all the people in this scene, and here are some really fun facts you might not know about them. Here are some other things. This person and this, if you like the trivia, this person and this person also starred in this movie together, and that's really interesting and took somebody a long time to put together.
That's fun in a pop-up video kind of way, but the behind-the-scenes docs where you can see the moment in George Lucas's eyes where he realizes Phantom Menace is terrible. There's no replacing that.
I will say behind the scenes, when they used to actually air them as ways to promote movies, that was one of the ways that I really got into the idea of making movies and writing things. I'm such a broken record. It was watching the Mortal Kombat behind the scenes, the first one. And it was I forget what channel it was on, but they had a half an hour behind the scenes and they were showing all the stunt works and they talked to some of the writers. And it really cemented to me that I was like, oh, well, this thing is a thing that's attainable. You see it and you're like, oh, those are just dudes. There's a dude that holds a mic and there's a dude that holds a camera. It is possible and attainable to be one of those dudes. What else do we have here? Ooh, here is a good question that we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Louis Venezuela asks, do you think that cable companies will offer streaming bundles to stay relevant? Say if you signed up with Dish, they will offer you a choice of 3 streaming services.
I mean, Disney's already kind of doing this with being you can get Disney Plus, ESPN, and Hulu. What? I think that'll be an interesting thing to see, because so many of these companies are now just owned by service providers.
Right.
So the question becomes, does AT&T have an interest in making it super easy for you to see Hulu, or would they much rather you just be on the HBO Max train? So
yeah, and super annoyingly, I'm in a rental house right now, and it's like so I have cable for the first time in forever, and they must have some kind of deal like Xfinity or whatever where they must pay for exclusivity because you can stream Hulu and you can stream Peacock, but you can't stream HBO or Disney Plus. Like they've worked it out so like maybe somebody's paying somebody for the exclusive rights to be the streaming service bundled with Xfinity and not the other way around.
No, that's absolutely a thing because when I was using, I think it was like one of the Amazon streaming things for a while. And yeah, like you would go through and they'd be like, go talk to your service provider. It wasn't my service provider, but it was a service provider. And you could go through the list and see what it was that they offered. And they would say, oh, sorry, like you can't stream through your service provider, but you should bug them and see if they want to do it. And it is more than likely because of these exclusivity deals or, some kind of price thing in the same way that occasionally you'll be watching a show, like a channel, and they'll be like, you got to yell at Comcast because Comcast says that you don't get Fox anymore. Write them letters and things like that. So how much would you pay for a service like that if they did offer a bundle?
Well, speaking of Comcast, things? Katie Manson chat, daughter of Scott Mance, I can't prove that. She says she gets free Netflix and free Peacock through Comcast.
Huh.
So the bundles is a-coming.
Bundles is a-coming. I honestly, if they bundled 4 things together and they were things I really wanted, because I know Disney has that bundle and I don't really care about ESPN. But if there were 4 things and I was really interested in them, because if you can get them all separately for like $8 a month, it would really have to be like, if you're going to do a bundle, it's got to be $25 or $30 for me. If it's 4 services.
Yeah, I think that's what we've been conditioned to paying for 1 to 4 streaming services a month. Because I got my Spotify too and stuff like that. Like I can't. We're never going back to the $100 plus cable bill unless they force us to. So whoops. Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, I do think the spirit of the question was like, do you think you'll ever get one where the competitors themselves, Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, HBO Max, like will those 4 ever agree to some deal where someone else bundles for them or something like that? I think that's the question.
Possibly. I think it'll take some other kind of new middleman to pop up. I don't know what that means exactly as I say it out loud, but some kind of other new like internet service or something that is like, hey, look at this great idea and a great new way to sell you guys and get you more money.
Yeah, it's got to be someone because it's got to be something that's financially viable for all of these different companies, and then it would almost have to be like a different company outside of it that they trusted. Because Hulu was kind of like that initially, where it was a bunch of the different companies and networks saying, yeah, we're all kind of got to get together and put this thing and figure out a way to do that. But that's obviously on a much smaller scale, because if you could do something where you could get all of these streaming services, the major ones, bundled together, that's cable. I mean, at that point, that's cable, essentially.
I think it'll be a lot more like back-end kind of deals almost as net neutrality kind of... let's end this on a high note. As net neutrality crumbles and, everybody gets deregulated, I think it's going to be a lot more almost nefarious deals, less like streaming bundles and more like Netflix pays AT&T this much mafia money so that their 4K doesn't get throttled by AT&T's internet service. Whereas HBO Max, beautiful 5K. You can smell the cigarettes Perry Mason's smoking, baby.
All right, well, join us back here tomorrow. Deregulate your mind and your ass will follow. We will see you back here tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, guys.